What happens when America's sweetheart sits across from morning? Television's toughest interviewer, and the conversation takes a shocking turn no one expected. But today's show studio turned into a battlefield when Carrie Underwood joined Hoda Kotb for what should have been a simple promotional spot. Instead, it spiraled into one of the most unforgettable clashes in morning TV history. Make sure to hit subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story will leave you stunned. The day started like any other at Rockefeller Plaza. Carrie Underwood arrived early, polished and professional, ready for what her team had scheduled as a routine interview to promote her upcoming tour. She had done hundreds of these appearances before, and there was no reason to believe this one would be any different. Hoda, known for her warmth and easygoing style, was set to conduct the segment. But from the moment Carrie walked in, something felt off. The pre-show chatter was stiff, the smiles a little too tight, the atmosphere quietly strained. Still, when the countdown ended and the red light went on, both women slipped into performance mode. "Good morning, everyone. I'm here with the incredible Carrie Underwood," Hoda beamed, leaning into her trademark charm. "Thanks for having me." "Hoda, always a pleasure," Carrie replied, her smile polite but noticeably restrained. The exchange started safe, with talk of Carrie's upcoming tours and her connection with fans, but then Hoda pivoted. "Before we dive in," she said smoothly, "there's been some chatter lately about changes in your personal life, speculation about your marriage. How do you handle that kind of scrutiny?" Carrie's posture shifted, her expression tightening. "Well, Hoda, I'd really prefer to keep my personal life private. I'm here today to talk about my music and my tour, not tabloid gossip." "Of course," Hoda nodded, though her tone hinted at persistence. "But don't you think, as a public figure, your fans deserve some transparency? They connect to your story. They buy your albums, your tickets, because they feel invested in who you are." Carrie's eyes hardened. "I absolutely love and appreciate my fans, but there's a difference between sharing my music and putting my marriage on display for entertainment." Hoda leaned in. "But Carrie, your whole brand has been built on relatability and singing about real heartbreak, real relationships. When you sing about revenge and betrayal, people assume those songs are yours. Are you saying they're not?" "I'm saying that songs are stories," Carrie shot back, her jaw tense. "Some are mine, some aren't. Sometimes they're entirely fictional. That's the art of songwriting." The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Hoda didn't relent. "But when you post on social media about honesty in relationships, about how lies destroy trust, were you speaking generally, or were you speaking from personal experience?" Carrie's eyes flashed with fury. "Are you really psychoanalyzing my social media posts on live television right now?" "I'm asking what your fans are asking," Hoda countered. "This morning, we had dozens of messages from viewers who wanted these very answers. They want to know if their role model is practicing what she preaches. My being a role model doesn't give anyone the right to dissect my marriage." Carrie snapped, her voice rising. "Frankly, I'm shocked you'd ambush me like this when your producers told my team this would be about the tour." "Nobody's ambushing anyone," Hoda said coolly. "These are fair questions. If you can't handle basic questions about your public persona, maybe interviews aren't the right place for you." The air froze. The challenge was unmistakable. Carrie stared across the table, every muscle in her face tightening, her frustration spilling into silence. Millions of viewers watched as the atmosphere turned electric, waiting for the explosion they knew was coming. "Excuse me," Carrie said finally, her voice cutting like steel. The transformation was instant, the poised country star shifting into something far sharper. In that moment, America's sweetheart wasn't smiling anymore. "Did you just suggest I can't handle basic questions?" Hoda's words landed sharp, and for a beat she looked like she'd gone too far, but the reporter in her held steady. "I'm not saying that," she replied, voice steady. "I'm saying public figures accept public scrutiny. It comes with the territory." "Public scrutiny is one thing," Carrie shot back, leaning forward so the table seemed to shrink between them. "Deliberately misleading my team about the nature of this interview is another. Your producers told my people this would be about my tour, my music, my upcoming projects. Instead, you're trying to dissect my marriage like it's a soap opera." Hoda opened her mouth to answer, but Carrie cut across her, words gaining force. "You don't understand what it's like to have every single corner of your life picked apart by strangers. You don't know what it feels like to have people assign motive and betrayal to a lyric or a late-night post." Her hands tightened on the table. The microphone clipped to her blazer creaked with emotion. Hoda's face hardened. "Actually, Carrie, I do understand. I've been in this business more than 20 years. I've had my personal life dragged into the headlines. The difference is, you built an empire on selling authenticity. You sing about real heartbreak and real relationships, then act surprised when people want to know if those stories reflect your life." A hush fell over the crew. The studio lights hummed. Cameras rolled on in different lenses. Both women, normally masters of composed public faces, had let the veneer slip. "So you think making money from my art gives you the right to ambush me?" Carrie's voice dropped, dangerously quiet. "You think success means I surrender my right to privacy? I think authenticity means consistency," Hoda replied coolly. "You can't build a career as the girl next door singing about fidelity and honesty. and then shut down when someone asks whether you actually live those values. Carrie's jaw clenched. My music speaks for itself, she said through gritted teeth. I don't owe you or anyone a Sean B. Scene breakdown of my private life, but you owe your fans honesty. Hoda pushed. These people have supported you for nearly 2 decades. They bought your records, filled your arenas, defended you online. When they ask whether the person they admire actually lives those values, don't they deserve an answer? The question hit like a physical blow. Carrie stood so suddenly her microphone cord pulled taut, the clip threatening to yank her back into her chair. For a heartbeat she was all motion, chest heaving, eyes flashing. Are you questioning my integrity? She demanded. I'm questioning your consistency. Hoda replied without standing. You've profited from an image of authenticity, but the moment someone asks you to live up to that image, you hide behind privacy concerns. Wanting to keep my marriage out of the tabloids is a privacy concern, Carrie said, voice cracking with disbelief. Not every rumor deserves a spotlight. Not when those rumors contradict the image you've sold. Hoda shot back. Your fans have a right to know if the woman they look up to actually practices the values she sings about. For a long second, Carrie was silent, the studio air thick with charged electricity. When she spoke, there was barely a lid on the rage she'd been keeping in. How dare you imply I'm a fraud because I won't hand over my private life for bullets and ratings? I'm not calling you a fraud, Hoda said, though the tone suggested otherwise. I'm asking you to explain the disconnect between your public persona and your private actions. What disconnect? Carrie demanded. What private actions? She gestured like the very idea offended her. You're hanging this on tabloid speculation, ringless photos, absence from red carpets, overheard arguments. You don't have proof. You have gossip. You're treating it like gospel. Hoda didn't flinch. The facts are these, she said, each word deliberate. You've been photographed without your wedding ring. Your husband hasn't appeared at recent events. You've been seen in tense conversations with management. Those are observable realities, not rumors. Carrie's face flushed a fierce red. So you've been monitoring my life, tracking my jewelry, my schedule, my relationships to manufacture a story. Nobody's following you, Hoda replied, cool and clipped. The cameras kept rolling. Millions watched, transfixed, as 2 very different truths collided across a table of polite smiles and clipped microphones. These observations come from publicly available photos and posts, Hoda said evenly. Information that's already out there. Information that's being weaponized against me in this interview. Carrie snapped. You're piecing together paparazzi shots and online gossip to build a case against my character. I'm using what's available to ask fair questions, Hoda countered. Questions your fans are asking. My fans trust me. Carrie shot back, her voice steady now, almost icy. The people who truly support me know there's a line between my public work and my private life. They don't need me to justify every photo taken without my consent. Apparently, some of them do, Hoda said, pressing harder, because they're the ones writing to us. Carrie let out a bitter laugh. Oh, please. So now, every phone call, every email from a viewer magically becomes hard news. What's next? Questions about my grocery lists. My laundry routine. If your grocery habits contradicted the image you've built, then yes, Hoda shot back without hesitation. The words hit like a slap. Carrie froze, eyes narrowing with disbelief, the rage simmering just beneath her surface. The studio had gone silent, save for the low hum of cameras that refused to look away. You know what, Hoda? Carrie's voice was calm, now too calm. The kind of calm that comes before the storm. I think I finally understand what's happening here. Hoda shifted in her chair, uneasy, as if sensing the tide turning. What do you mean? This isn't about journalism, Carrie said, her gaze locked on Hoda like steel. This isn't about serving my fans or asking fair questions. This is about ratings, about creating a viral moment, about getting people to talk about your show. That's ridiculous, Hoda protested, but the conviction in her voice wavered. Your job as a journalist, Carrie repeated, the words heavy with disdain, doesn't include ambushing your guests. It doesn't include lying to them about what the interview is supposed to cover. Tell me, Hoda, do they teach that in journalism school? Nobody lied to you, Hoda fired back, but she was visibly on the defensive now. Questions about personal life and current headlines are standard in entertainment interviews. Standard. Carrie's voice rose, the steel cracking into fury. There's nothing standard about this hit job you're pulling. This was supposed to be a simple promotional conversation. Instead, you've turned it into an interrogation fueled by gossip and clickbait. I'm asking questions, Hoda began. No, Carrie cut her off, her tone sharp enough to slice through the air. You're stirring up controversy. You're fishing for You want viral clips to spread online, even if it means torching my reputation in the process. My show doesn't need manufactured drama to succeed, Hoda said stiffly. Really? Carrie laughed harshly. Because that's exactly what you're doing. Turning speculation into scandal. Feeding the beast. I'm trying to get honest answers from someone who's built a career on supposed honesty. Hoda shot back, her own composure starting to unravel. If you have nothing to hide, why Why be so defensive? Because I shouldn't have to defend my private life to you or anyone else. Carrie exploded, her voice ringing through the studio. The fact that you think I owe you explanations about my marriage, my relationships, my choices, that right there shows exactly what's broken about this industry. The same industry, Hoda countered sharply, that's made you rich, famous, and influential. The industry that gave you this platform. And the same industry that thinks wealth means I've forfeited my right to dignity. Carrie shot back. That fame is some contract that forces me to auction off every corner of my soul for public consumption. You chose this life. Hoda said coldly, nobody forced you to become a public figure. Asterisk, Carrie's voice trembled with fury as she shot back. I chose to share my music. I never chose to have my marriage torn apart on morning television by someone more focused on stirring up drama than practicing real journalism. Real journalism means asking tough questions. Hoda countered, her tone sharp. Not just easy ones about tour dates and albums. Tough questions based on facts. Not gossip blogs dressed up as news. Carrie snapped. The words hit like a blade, hanging between them as the studio air thickened with tension. Hoda's face shifted anger, then wounded pride, then raw defiance. You know what, Carrie? If you can't stand the heat, maybe you shouldn't be in the kitchen. This is part of being an entertainer. It comes with the job. No, Carrie shot back, her voice steady now as she unclipped her microphone. This is what happens when respect gets traded for ratings. This is what unprofessional journalists think entertainers should deal with. Hoda leaned forward, her voice rising as Carrie stood. Where are you going? We're not finished here. Oh, we're finished, Carrie said, pulling the mic pack from her belt and setting it down on the side table. I'm not going to sit here and be ambushed by someone who came in with an agenda. Call it what it is, a setup. You're walking out. On live television, Hoda's disbelief filled the studio. All because I asked legitimate questions. I'm walking out on an ambush disguised as an interview, Carrie corrected, her tone like ice. I'm walking out on a journalist who confuses misleading guests and manufacturing scandal with doing their job. This is incredibly unprofessional. Hoda called after her as Carrie moved toward the set's edge. Your fans are watching this. Carrie spun back one last time, eyes blazing. My fans will understand. They know the difference between disrespect and accountability. Walking away from this circus isn't unprofessional, it's necessary. So you're just going to run away? Hoda pressed, desperately, trying to salvage control, avoid accountability by storming off. No, Carrie replied coolly. I'm going to preserve my dignity, something you seem to have forgotten. And with that, she walked off set, leaving Hoda alone at the desk. Cameras still rolling. For a moment, Hoda sat frozen, her composure shattered. Then, forcing a strained smile toward the camera, she muttered, well, that didn't go as planned. We'll be right back after this commercial break. The instant the red light on the camera shut off, chaos erupted. Production assistants scrambled to fill the dead air, while producers whispered furiously about damage control. Carrie, meanwhile, was already gone, slipping out of the building without another word. Within minutes, the clash was everywhere online. Clips spread like wildfire, sparking a raging debate. Had Hoda crossed a professional line, or had Carrie overreacted? Whichever side you took. One fact was undeniable, this moment had just rewritten the trajectory of both women's careers. So what do you think was Hoda justified in pressing harder, or did Carrie do the right thing by walking away? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more shocking celebrity moments that you won't believe actually happened.